Secretary Saab is chairing this session. And very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to this session on MROs, which, with the galaxy of people here, I'm sure will be a very fruitful discussion in the next 1 hour. Before we start, before I request the Honorable Secretary to make his inaugural remarks, I seek his indulgence and your permission to release a book on MRO. In fact, it's a report by Invest India that has been done. The report covers is basically the global outlook of the MROs, where the country stands, and a case study on certain aspects. And thereafter, it is also a ready primer on an investor. If some investor wants to put in his money here, then how much money will he have to put in to start a particular MRO? We are not looking at the engine MROs, we are looking at the basic MROs, but it is a good primer to begin with, and a lot of work has gone into it. So I'd request the Honorable Secretary to release this book, this study, in the presence of this audience, and then I'll request the Secretary to make his inaugural comments. So you will hand it over to him or what?
We can do this in a subsequent week, sir. When we receive, let it go, sir. Let it go from Boca handle, and you can read it, sir. And the moment we receive Maharashtra, government of Maharashtra thing, we will again again we'll update it. Hello. Hello, sir. Hello.
Sir. So this is the book. शरद को भी तो दे Thank you. May I now request the Secretary to give us inaugural comments?
This is something Invest India. Nobody from Invest India today in this session? You have? Oh, okay. Okay. This is a very good report. In fact, I have had the occasion to glance through. And so, namaskar and good morning, everyone, distinguished industry leaders, MRO partners, senior government functionaries, OEMs, representatives, and dear colleagues. This is, I think, in fact, I was really looking forward to participating in this session, something which is very, very close to my heart. We've been working on this sector for a long time. Ever since I was there in defense, we started working on this. It's a pleasure to join the roundtable on a subject that sits at the very core of India's aviation transformation: maintenance, repair, and overhaul. And the theme of this session, local capability for global credibility, captures the challenge and the opportunity before us. If India is to become a true global aviation hub, we must build MRO capabilities that are not only large in scale, but trusted in standards and competitive in solutions. This is just not a line. In fact, this is not a statement, mere a statement. This is what we mean when we are talking about MROs in our country. We all know that India's fleet is expanding rapidly. In 2024, that is 2 years back, Indian Airlines operated around 813 aircraft supported by 149 MROs as I speak. I'm given to understand that we have around 860 aircraft. Altogether, nearly 100 aircraft actually came into the system by the Indian carriers, and obviously some got retired where the lease actually ended. And going forward, by 2029, the fleet is projected to grow to about 1,400 aircraft. Also, this is going to be very, very sizable. Not very long back, 10 years back, 11 years back in 2014, we were hovering around we were hovering around 350 aircraft, and with the number of MROs expected to reach around 200. We have around 149 MROs as we speak, and this growth presents a clear opportunity, not merely to serve domestic demand, but to attract global maintenance work. However, we feel, and justifiably so, that scale alone is not enough. Global credibility depends on certification, quality, and reliability. And today, only a small proportion of Indian MROs hold EASA or FAA approvals. Expanding international certification and achieving mutual recognition with key jurisdictions is essential if Indian MROs are to compete for global contracts. During the course of this session, I would like to brief as to what steps we have taken in recent times, in fact, very recently, on this issue of reciprocity. And this matter has been discussed at the highest level. But for now, I would like to brief as the session progresses. The next phase of MRO must also be technology-driven. Predictive maintenance using AI, digital twin models for real-time aircraft health monitoring, robotic inspections, and drone-based visual checks can significantly reduce turnaround time, improve compliances, and enhance profitability. These are no longer future concepts. Maybe 10 years back or 5 years back, these were future concepts, but they are becoming industry standards globally. Government has already taken several important steps to strengthen this ecosystem. We all know, and in the last couple of years, many things many steps been taken. Custom duties and GST on MRO services have been rationalized, much to the benefit of this important sector. Uniform 5% IGST on imported parts, 100% FDI under the automatic route, long-term land leases at airports, and removal of royalty charges have all improved the investment environment. Of course, we have to work in this arena more, and in a recently concluded meeting, we decided to mount some study by ERA, which will be working for the PPP airports as far as the royalty segment is concerned. Based on the feedback of MROs, we decided to take this action. Recent projects such as large MRO facilities being developed in Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, Trivandrum, and emerging initiatives in states like Odisha reflect growing confidence in India as an MRO destination. And going forward, what is required is a coherent national MRO strategy. This includes anchoring global OEMs and MRO partnerships, aligning certification framework with FAA and EASA standards, developing 4 or 5 national MRO clusters in different parts of the country with shared infrastructure, and building a strong talent pipeline through globally aligned AME training programs. Another aspect that I would like to highlight briefly relates to financing, which is another critical pillar. Leveraging platforms such as Gift City for inventory financing and redelivery checks can improve liquidity and attract institutional capital into the MRO segment. To conclude this opening remarks, India has the market, the talent, and the policy momentum. As we speak, what we must now deliver is execution at scale, standards par with global benchmarks, and solutions that are digitally enabled and financially viable. And if we get this right, Indian MROs will not only serve the Indian aviation, it will become a trusted partner for global aviation. India has all the potential to become a global MRO hub, given its geography and a strategic position. So I stop here, and in the next 1 hour or so, 45 minutes or so, we are really looking forward to some good, thoughtful suggestions and inputs. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir, for setting the tone of the next 45 minutes of discussion and highlighting the key issues in the MRO sector and the way ahead. I'll now request Mr. Sharad Agarwal to take over from here. He is the CEO, AIESL, and try and steer through the difficult questions and issues that might come forward in the discussions. And we will take a back seat and be avid listeners to whatever comments and suggestions that come from all of you. Over to you, Mr. Sharad.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to be moderating such a huge panel. All the august people from the aviation industry, led by the Government of India, the local government, the airlines industry, the MRO industry, the OEMs, and everyone is right here. And together we are sitting with a common aim. Our common aim is not only to create an MRO in India, which is an Indian one. The ultimate aim of whatever activities we do, whether be it an airlines, be it an MRO, or whatever it is, we create a safe environment for the Indian public, which public feels confident to be using. They get the services at a price which they can afford. And ultimately, the aim remains is to ensure that every single person in the country is able to afford an air travel. With that aim, let me just call a person from the largest, not just the most diversified airlines in India. An airlines which is running domestic, maybe half an hour sector to 17, 18-hour long sector, with a 100-seater aircraft to almost a 400-seater aircraft. So, Dash. How is Air India looking into entering MRO space, and how will the space be different in the next 5 years?
So, good morning to you, sir. Good morning, the election members and the aviation experts. So, Sarath put with this diversified questions. Yes, we are operating a complete diversified aircraft from the different makers and everything. It's a huge diversification. And how we are going to mitigate during the MRO and going for the future. So when we are talking about the MRO, it is just as Secretary Sir has said, 149 MROs and it's going to grow big. But are we there where we should be as per the global standards? If you ask me, no, we are not there. We need to be there. And based on the various aspects, we are developing our own MRO at Bangalore, where it is like a 35 acres. We are building the complete MRO, which actually cater for the narrow body as well as wide body, all including the paint hangars. But when I'm talking about this one, building an MRO itself or an hangar itself is not solving the purpose. It is not going to create the complete ecosystem. So you need the human resource, you need the expertise, everything you need. So we went ahead, we are doing the type training. At the same time, we developed a BMTO where people can be trained and the pipeline of the human resource also can come and start working on the MRO sector. So not only for this particularly maintenance MRO, for other MROs also it can start. So we are taking that one. Then another point which I have been advocating to all my people and to the MROs, one thing we are lagging is basically we have done a lot of work on the narrow body sector, but the wide body sector in India for the MRO purpose is very much lagging. We are, for example, we don't have a code D hangar in Delhi itself. If you need to do something in Delhi and a wide body, you need to fly the plane either to Nagpur or to Mumbai to do even a retraction check or something of that sort. So that wide body hangar segment, we need to develop into such an extent where we should be able to attract wide body maintenance sectors, MRO sectors to India. We are not there. And of course, as everybody is aware, we need to have the FAEs along with the DGCA to attract those markets. Of course, engine MRO has said that's a different ball game altogether. Where is Mr. Jitendra? They have been, Safran has been coming up with the engine MRO. Of course, we are already having capability with the ASL. But they are to the scale where we have to go to the level where we should be doing the engine MRO for other airlines or for other operators as well. One of the things I would like to highlight, while we are doing all the MRO and the engine overhaul and everything, one thing we are lagging when we are talking about the global credibility and Indian capability is the DOS segment, the design organization approval segment, for which you need to, for a repair, you need to develop something, even a small part, even where you do require a manufacturing. We are solely dependent on the OEMs or FA and EASA. We are not getting into that. We have gone ahead, we have taken our own DOA so that we can start that process. But my request to the MRO sector is how we can do it indigenous way so that even if a repair comes up or and we need to do any parts, even a small bracket manufacturing, now we are dependent either get an OEM part or you have to get the approval from the OEM or else you cannot manufacture any bracket. Is that the case? Are we not capable enough to manufacture any same part number in the bracket? Yes, there is a provision we can do it. So when we are talking of the MRO segment and the credibility, we should integrate both the things together so that the DOA system and including the POA, we have the FA BASA POA, but I don't see anybody is actually utilizing this one. Right now, even if after having the BASA with the FA as well, if the part comes up, the POA comes, then again we are running to the Boeing or to the Airbus or to anybody to get an approval. We are not able to do that. So those are the couple of things we need to integrate to the whole ecosystem so that we can start the complete MRO system and look for what we call as Indian credibility and we do the scaling. That are some of the few thoughts. Of course, we can go on talking, but I would put over here and I will start to take it forward. Thanks.
So very nicely said that the existing capability of the MROs, ability to do different jobs, the wide body aircraft, the engine overhaul, the component overhaul, the entire thing is missing in India. Let me just see the another airlines, which is the leading airlines in India, known for its simplicity, having very simple models and just two types of aircraft, and very quietly, silently connecting the India. So let me invite Parche from Indigo.
Thank you, Sharad sir. So the advantages that Indigo has today is just two types of aircrafts that we are flying. It is the narrow body 320 and 321 and the ATRs. That does make the maintenance less complicated vis-a-vis what Air India would be doing today. If I take you back with the Indigo journey, the first 100 aircrafts, we were entirely dependent on MROs for our C checks at various other places outside of India. We gradually moved to a model with the next 100 aircrafts and thereafter to the Indian MROs. Today we are using those Indian MROs, but the idea is that they are not adequate to carry out the maintenance. As Samir sir had said a little while back, we are close to about 860 aircrafts. We in Indigo ourselves are doing about 160 to 170 C checks. Combined everybody, today we are doing almost 270-75 C checks. While I talk about our self-reliance on the Indian MROs for the Indian operators, that is also today only primarily limited to the airframe, which is merely 20% of the entire aircraft. Engines, APUs, components, nacelle are cost and long turnaround times. As an airline today, we are sending these equipments to many places around the world, which defeats the purpose. These are all additional costs. Aviation sustainability becomes difficult for an airline. In the last couple of years, we've clearly seen some very remarkable move by the government with our DGCA to put us on a world map. Certain cost structures were reviewed, which became, maintenance became more sustainable in-house. Those are some of the steps that we have seen which have helped us. But we are still very far away from what we need. And naturally, the solution lies in everybody knows the number of aircraft that are going to be coming in the next 15 years in India, with the huge orders of Indigo, Air India, Akasa. And there is a market demand here. We all understand that there are complicated regulations, taxes, or pacts between countries, but I think the governments of different countries have to get together to understand the potential that there is in this part of the world. And it is a need of the hour. Also rightly put in, it is the beginning of many new things that we have to be doing together. We just need to identify and prioritize how do we take it stepwise. And I think, Sharad sir, that is what we are together also doing. We've done so much with Piyush sir here as well, Samir sir here as well, to see what can be prioritized to take things forward. We are in a very nascent stage today in terms of the MRO strategy, but I think going in the right direction.
So very well said. Once again, from 100% dependence on foreign MROs in the first 5 years of your operation to slowly moving towards India, but still be aware of the fact that there is absolutely no presence of Indian MROs as far as APU, the engines, the APUs, and the components are concerned, which definitely remains a cause of concern. Now, with that, now let me move to the other two airlines in India, and I will just request everyone, now in the interest of time, let's just restrict ourselves to 2 minutes each, sir. So, Daniel Sadana, who is representing the Akasa. So,
Thank you for giving us a chance to be at this table here. So I'll just, Akasa is a small fleet right now. We have 33 planes and we have 226 on order. So like our big brothers here in Air India and Indigo, we are catching up. I would focus on 3 areas which the MRO world needs to focus on, and we are happy to, as Akasa, looking at these areas. One is a pipeline of talent and manpower. That is a factor that cannot be ignored. You can buy machines, you can buy tools, you can buy parts, but you can't buy people. And that requires a mature pipeline to be created, which is 3 to 5 years. So that's something that we all need to look at. The second is that if we want to enhance the MRO world here, we need to bring in technology and expertise into areas that are not explored. We have a great airframe MRO ecosystem here, Mr. Sharad from AISL, we have GMR, we have Airworks, so they're all storied MROs. But as was said here, that it's airframe is just 20%. So we need to look at bringing in expertise as well as committing to partnerships, because that will give encouragement to MROs and OEMs to come in and set up facilities here. Because without commitments, it's very difficult to move ahead. It's a big investment game. And last but not the least is to adopt technology like AI, robotics, and other things that the Honorable Secretary talked about, which is the need of the hour. So these 3 components put together will ensure that the MRO ecosystem grows in the correct manner. We have 114 MROs, we have 149 right now, but the question needs to be asked is that how many of them are contributing to the airline MRO business? We have a lot of small MROs who do wheels and brakes, ovens, boilers, but the high-tech stuff where the money is in and where the airlines need help needs to be explored. And these 3 points need to be factored by those who are keen to start up MROs, and we as Akasa are committed and willing to partner with those who are interested in going ahead. We have a small and growing fleet, but we are willing to give that commitment to those who see India as a place to start up something. So thanks a lot for that, Mr. Shah.
thank you, Daniel, thank you. And now let me just come down to the group of small airlines who are not relying on Airbus 320s or 737s. The small airlines who are feeding the country, who are into the Udan routes, who may have a different type of aircraft and different needs. So let me invite Star Airlines, Shrikant.
Morning. Thank you, Sharad. Thank you all distinguished speakers here. And taking the tagline of Ude Desh Ke Aam Nagarik, Star Air connects the real India. We operate to the Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. And the main challenge what we face is the type of aircraft what we have. There is no ecosystem available in India for the Embraer. So we are in the path of establishing our own ecosystem, take it for training or MRO. Not only the routes, we also want to take this MRO to the tier 2 city, not only sticking on to the tier 1 cities. So that my main request to the secretary and the economic advisor is to make a single window system for the MRO approval so that there is ease of doing, building up the MRO and ease of processing the approval. Thank you, Sharad.
Okay, thank you. This is very well said, the ease of doing business and a single window clearance. But what for? The carbon 45 approval? Well, it is. It is single window. You put your application on EGCA and you'll get it. So anyway, having said that, it's not just the aircraft maintenance, which anyway is just 20% of the entire business. The remaining 80%, as each of the airlines player has been pointing out, is merely going abroad. The engine maintenance, the component maintenance. Having said that, it's not that India will remain dependent on the foreigners forever. One major initiative is coming in India, and let me invite Jitendra ji about the Safran, the engines, the engine overhaul facility in India. How do you intend putting resources into the place so that the Indian industry gets what and they get the engine which is totally reliable and yeah, please.
Thanks, Sharadji. I mean, most of the guys in the room are aware of the recent inauguration which happened in Hyderabad itself for the engine MRO, which is even for us, it is the largest MRO under a single roof globally for Safra. So that itself gives you an indication that the demand needs to be fulfilled in country, and many more MROs in future will take cues from here and will build. Now to your second part of the question is that what are the challenges or thing? One thing is, and most of us are speaking, is the skill availability is a biggest challenge. Retaining the skill which we develop is another bigger challenge because we have adjacent geographies attracting talent for much bigger remuneration. For skill building, what we are doing is we have tied up with a couple of academic institutes and we have built in specific tailor-made courses on the 7th and the 8th semester for those colleges. And we will be also doing a 6-month-long OJT in our facilities so that we build those. Of course, all those good trained will not get absorbed by us, but they will be available as an industry-ready resource. But I think this needs to be more channelized through some kind of an incentive-based system with the support of the ministry, and I will request Piyush separately on this. The second part is, on the same lines, is civil-military synergy, which is totally unexplored, unexploited right now, and the secretary here is coming from Ministry of Defense, so that's a good example of civil-military synergy. But we are setting up military MRO adjacent to the civil MRO, and we find that we need to find some innovative ways of going about doing it and using the military expertise to augment this gap in the civil seal, other than the academic institutions. These are two submissions. Thanks.
Yeah. Mr. Dash was also talking about setting up an aviation academy. GMR has already set up an aviation academy. Having said that, everyone is just catering for the 20% of the total business, that is the aircraft maintenance. The engine maintenance, how are the students coming in? How will they get skilled? How will they get absorbed in an MRO? And what happens to the people who are not absorbed? Next, defense. Yes, there are a lot of engine overhaul facilities which are running. Are the people coming out of defense industry ready to be absorbed into civil industry? And is DGC accepting their qualifications, their licenses, their approvals, whatever they have into the civil space? That always remains a question mark. Having said that, I think now in the interest of time, let me just now expedite and run faster than this. Let me also invite another MRO which is from the government sector, which is essentially an aircraft manufacturing organization, but also venturing into the MRO space. So let me call Rajesh Singh from HAL.
Yeah, respected chair and all the distinguished panelists. Actually, I'd like to take forward the point which Mr. Gavankar has brought out. How is HAL developing its capability on defense portfolio? So HAL, we have developed a vision to have an integrated MRO hub at Nasik, and this is basically with an intention or aligning with the Government of India's vision of military and civil convergence. And based on that, we have in fact transformed a full defense hangar into a civil hangar with CAR 145 regulation. And the most important thing which has been brought in the country was a strategic partnership with Airbus. So Airbus has been supporting through various phases of consulting to HAL to develop this MRO capability so that the local capability is actually getting the global credibility. So with that intent in mind and with OEM on board, the first phase is developing an airframe MRO, and then subsequently we go towards component and engine MRO. And because Nasik, we also have a center of excellence for landing gears. So that's what is the second phase on which we are developing upon, using our military base and then move forward towards civil landing gears. Thank you.
So in a way, that is the defense sector getting into the civil space, and a synergy is there. The landing gear shop, the tie-up with Airbus. So you are running into what is the dream of the country. Coming back now, some of the biggest MROs here. So let me invite Ashok ji. How are you going to diversify to satisfy the current needs of the airlines, not just the narrow body aircraft, the wide body aircraft, maybe the engine and component overhaul business?
Morning, everybody. Morning, everybody. I'm Ashok Gopinath from GMR Aerotechnique, MRO. Keeping to the theme of today's discussion, just today we are already, as far as narrow body is concerned, we are at India's international MRO. What we call it as local for India and India for global. We are actually, our spread of business is around 40-60, 40% from the domestic side and 60% from the overseas side. That's where we are in the narrow body side. Keeping with that line, we are now putting up a new wide body complex. Eventually, we will have 3 wide body hangars. By 2028, our intention is to induct the first wide body, either a 787 or a 350. We are looking at that option. While we are scaling up and expanding the facility, we are also have initiated already, this discussion has started, training program has started for getting Part 21 approval from EASA and DGCA. We are already having a school as far as skill is concerned. We are already having an EASA and DGCA approved 147 school with basic school as well as a type training school. The intent of the school is to bring it as a center of excellence in line with Flight Safety International, how a professional Flight Safety International school provides all kind of training. So that's how we want to develop the school as India's Flight Safety International school model. And then we are also bringing in, as we expand to wide body, cabin interior becomes more and more important. So we are in discussion, a very advanced stage of discussion, to bring in the cabin interior modifications and the interior refurbishment for a first class, business class that is needed for wide body. Yeah, that capability is being brought into the country. That will be parallelly set up along with our wide body capability. And today India lacks, though we are well known in the region for narrow body painting, but today unfortunately there is no single facility for wide body, and that's the reason you see Air India aircraft going all the way from here to Seattle and abroad for painting. So that should be over by 2028. We will have a full-fledged wide body, up-to-date, latest capability of wide body painting, including wherever possible the digital painting will be available. So the complex that we are putting up is a wide body hangar with capability for painting also. Also we are for cabin interior, Part 21 approval, and then similarly that component is the next one which we will become. We are looking at expanding, and that is something is the next focus. Today we are already what we call it as key components, like the nacelle components. We have already brought in the capability. some of the airlines are already taking the benefit out of it, which actually we are providing ACASA the support for cabin, for the nacelle components, and so we are going to expand further into it. So component is the need of the hour, engine is already there. While I have two requests with the government, and one request with the government and one request with the airlines is, government, today I know government has taken a lot of initiatives for bringing up, supporting the industry, but I still feel that when we talk to our industry colleagues, friends from the other side of the table, there is still a perception that we still haven't done enough. So I think that some introspection needs to be done and see what needs to shake that opinion of, bring the big boys into the game from outside into India. That is something which we definitely need. Secondly is, I also request that, though I'm not asking for any concession or any favor from the local airlines here, but definitely little bit of support will be required when we put up a wide body, as we expand, some sort of, though we don't have any commitment from any operator today, but we are going ahead and putting, because studying the industry, studying the market, we are going ahead and investing thousands of crores actually into the new complex. But then we will definitely look for some support from the industry as such here, on the airline industry, to see how that can be nurtured, we can grow. So, because today is a world of collaborative world. No individual can, single entity can grow. All those big boys we see today here in the world, they all are MROs for the last 50 to 70 years. Nobody came up in last 5 years just like that and grew up. So that will be a time where we will have facing a growth period, a consolidation period. So today you already see some consolidation happening in the industry. So that supports something which I look up to from the industry. And the last point that Srivastava Saab, that though government released a circular of the paying the IGST of the aircraft parts, but I still say, notwithstanding the clarification issued by government, it is still not being fully adhered to. So you will still find variations where the customs are in some location it is 5%, some location it is 18%. So the airlines and the MROs both are having still the same issue going on. I think we need to do something about it to bring in more clarity and more firmness in that order, so that there is no room for further discretionary interpretation. Government is very clear. Thank you. We must really thank you for that support that we all got. But I somehow feel that we are missing that opportunity to encash it, and its benefit is not flowing down because still being interpreted in a very liberal way.
Okay, we'll come quickly to that also, where the government support is required.
Thank you.
And in fact, I will call the person and who will be summing up all the demands of the MRO industry.
Thank you.
But let's keep that towards the end. So I have seen one of the aircraft which has been converted, one of the 320 aircraft converted to all business class, 50-seater and all flat beds. It's a beautiful aircraft. I've seen that. So from the narrow body interiors, getting into the wide body aircraft maintenance and the wide body paint facilities. Definitely, we are looking forward to some exciting days with the GMR. Now, some of the global MROs. So let me just call on the Lufthansa Technique. Sir, how did you do it? And what do you suggest that Indian MRO industry has to do?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to
yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it's on? All right. Now, thanks to Wings of India for getting, it's okay?
It's on.
It's okay?
It's on.
It's okay, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks first of all, Wings of India, for getting such a distinguished panel and together. I think when we're looking at the market here, yeah, it's the third largest domestic market in the world. We were talking a bit about the numbers, 1,000 aircrafts going up to 1.5, up to 4,000. You know, there's an increase over fourfolds over the next 20 years. The market is there. There's no discussion, yeah, about is there a growth in this market, yeah. And I think we were talking a little bit in the morning, also Daniel, about what are the challenges. Yeah, I don't think the challenges are policies. From the last time I was here 2 years ago, I think the GST, the 100% FDI investment. All of these things have been put in place. And I think when we talk about what is the challenge, at the end, yes, you're quite right, 70, 80% of that MRO is going out. And what needs to be done, right? That's the question. When we look at globally the challenges, yeah, you've got supply chain issues, parts issues, the complexities of these aircrafts are getting more and more complex. But I think the major thing, which I think all of us were talking about this morning as well, is really getting the people. Yeah? So the aviation, the fleets are there, they're growing, there's no discussion, is there a market here? The question, of course, is for the MROs to get the people to build that ecosystem here. Yeah? It's there, but what we as MROs can do to come into this ecosystem, and where do we get the people to grow with that? I think that's the major question that we have, and it's not just here, it's all over the world, but I think more importantly here because of this tremendous growth. So I think these are the questions we're asking ourselves, and I think all of us are asking. I think that's the biggest challenge, yeah, what I see. Thanks.
Anyway, that's quite interesting. And okay, let me just now invite Vivek from GE Aerospace. Virtually every single aircraft entering into India is being powered by GE engines these days. While for the narrow body, definitely Safran is putting up a shop. What happens to the wide body space, the big engines? How do you look towards to support the Indian industry for that?
Sure. First of all, Honorable Chair and respected distinguished delegates, thank you for the opportunity to represent GE Aerospace views here on this forum. I would start with a bit of background, right? I mean, GE has been committed to India since the last 4 decades, and we have always endeavored not to look at India as just a market to sell stuff, because we have endeavored to build engineering talent, manufacturing talent, and use India as a sourcing base through our engineering centers in Bangalore, manufacturing in Pune, and then setting up a supplier base in the country. We've also had the opportunity to partner with AISL to set up the Nagpur MRO, the engine shop, which I personally had the opportunity to visit a couple of years back, which is a fabulous facility that can do the wide body overhauls, right? I would also like to thank the government for bringing in tremendous reforms on the lines of taxation, making it easy for airlines to bring in aircrafts, bring out aircrafts, right? Rationalizing customs duty, helping up with land reforms. But I think someone said, right, we are right now thinking from a point of view of 800 aircrafts, whereas I think the future is about 2,000 odd narrow bodies operating and close to about 300 wide bodies. And that should happen in the space of the next decade. With such a large fleet, there is tremendous need for a quick turnaround, not just at the aircraft level, but at the engine level. And I think there are possibly 2 or 3 areas that we could focus on, if I focus on the wide body space as well. The first is, local has to be competitive with global. And it is not just on cost. There are 4 areas that we have to work towards, which is the GE philosophy that we believe in is SQDC, which is safety, quality, reliability, and cost, in that order. That's the first thing. I think the second thing that we have to think about the whole space is how is it attractive to get the top talent in this space. Because MRO, unlike manufacturing, is a lot dependent on the talent, the workforce, people who are motivated to drive, bring change, and like someone said, right, the ability to bring in local repairs. And I think the third thing from the request would be, we all need to take a look at global hubs like Singapore, Malaysia, Dubai, right, and look at how can we be at least as good as or better than those hubs. Because once we are able to build that framework, you will naturally attract talent, and you will naturally be able to build the infrastructure. That's what I'll put as my final submission, Sharad.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So looking forward to the Gs, many more Gs, and maybe the GE shop in India very, very soon. Now, having said that, the Airbus, one of the largest OEMs today who is supplying the aircraft. Virtually, the Indian aviation is depending only on two players today. So, how do you intend supporting the MRO industries, and how do you intend? Does Airbus have any plan to be expanding into MRO space in India?
When it comes to the MRO, Airbus is here to complement and not to compete. Thanks, Justin. So when it comes to MRO, Airbus is here to complement the MRO growth in India. And again, I would echo what my fellow panelists have been saying, that MRO in India actually turned a page since the incentives came from the government for last 4 or 5 years. And Airbus has also been very much engaged to support this MRO growth. Airbus provides training for MRO growth, it provides tools, it provides materials, and as Rajesh was mentioning, we also provide consulting for new MRO setup. On the airframe MRO, what we have seen is it is not only meeting today the domestic demand, but also demand from neighboring countries. And of course, we will be releasing the numbers in our media release. We see that MRO will grow up to 9.5 billion over next 10 years. So we see a huge growth coming up, and Airbus is there to complement. And again, to join issues with my panelists, the major issue what we see is the requirement of talented, quality manpower, and the focus is on quality. Okay, this is where Airbus is turning the focus. You know, we have worked with GMR on setting up the basic maintenance training organization. We are similarly tied up with Airworks on the training. We have our own maintenance training school. So this is also a key focus for Airbus as to how to support this ecosystem with a quality and trained manpower who can match up to the global regulations, and that is why we are all working on the EASA certified manpower from the Airbus side.
Now, having called Airbus, how can I leave Boeing behind? So, over to Boeing.
Thank you, Sharatji. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, thank you, Sharatji. I think a couple of points, I would echo all, similar thoughts that my other co-panelists have made, but two important pillars of our strategy is, one, we launched something called as BIRDS, Boeing India Repair, Development and Sustainment Hub, a few years back. And the principle of BIRDS being launched was that, Boeing is not in the business of, building their own MRO or hangars. I think we have taken a call that that's not the best business just from our, overhead structure perspective. Our approach is more aligned with building a self-reliance or an Atmanirbhar system. So what we do there, and taking a cue from initial comments that were there, we try to focus on civil defense synergy and see how that can play into building the capabilities. So for example, when we do the phase 56 checks on our derivative aircrafts with Airworks, that helps build capability in that particular area. When we do a landing gear work with AISL, that helps India to advance in the key component area, which is missing. When we partner with GMR on a Boeing converted freighter conversion facility, that helps sort of build that capability in the region for the growth in the region. So our approach is really about partnering with Indian MROs. Again, we understand, and I'm here to accept that there are certain areas where there can be a lot more work. I think the partnership with airlines from an access of CMM and all of that is something that can continue to be done. But really it's about partnering and bringing those capabilities where we have, let's say, more access to IP or control is our approach. The second approach is also, there is a lot of work which is being done in AI and technology. We have a large engineering center in Bangalore. So the drone-based inspection, for example, again, what we are doing is we are developing a pilot for one of the defense platforms. And again, it's synergy, right? If we are able to do a drone-based inspection, we are building the AI algorithm to do visual inspection from the drone, use that image-based analytics, and do a predictive maintenance. So that entire suite of solutions being built out of Bangalore, and we are, we'll be soon ready to roll out that with our customers and then take it forward. So those are the two-pronged approach that we are using at this point of time.
So yeah, that is also getting interesting now. Now let's just, from the aircraft manufacturers, aircraft OEMs to the engines, and now let me come down to one of the sophisticated avionics components, the Thales Group. So yes, Thales Group has recently inaugurated their own facility in NCR. How do you intend expanding? How do you intend supporting the Indian industry?
Thank you, Mr. Sharat. Thank you, Ministry. Thank you, distinguished guests. In terms of Thales' presence in India, I think it's not, like what Mr. Ashok said, it's not something that's overnight. We have been here for over 70 years, 7 decades. And in that aspect, we have built a core, and we believe in our a triangular, I would say, strategy that we have: made in India, innovate in India, and export from India. In that aspect, we believe in what I hear in the distinguished panels here also, to build up a core of manpower, competency, and also expertise. In that aspect, we have over 2,000 employees here in India, and out of that, 3/4 of that are engineers. And feeding that, we have two engineering centers, design centers, one in Bangalore, which is focused on manufacturing software for IFE products. That's gonna continue expanding. A second one, which is in Noida, is going to do that for cyber and also digital systems, which eventually will also feed in IFE. But having said all of that, we also have and believe in the self-reliance strategy of India. We've adopted in Thales a local to global strategy, which is in line with all of what I just mentioned. And in terms of that, like what Mr. Sharat has mentioned, we last year inaugurated a repair center dedicated to service the India airlines. Why we want to do that, I think that's what Mr. David has mentioned earlier, is as long as Indian airlines are committed to partnership, we are willing to see that and work with them for the growth. How we have done that is we have been in partnership with distinguished airlines like Indigo, Air India, and we have our equipment on board in terms of avionics and IFE. And in the recent, and Air India's 787 right now are parked outside. You will see our IFE, and if you have a chance, you can probably see that as well. And in terms of that, we believe in self-reliance of having the repairs done through our repair shops in India. So in that aspect, we believe this is something that we want to impart and also stand on our strategy to be able to have local presence, reliance, and also exporting, servicing the India industry. So having said that also, we believe in all these three key areas, as I just mentioned. One, to grow the local talent. Two, to empower the service lines. And three, to obviously meet and grow the standards that we have locally to be global standards. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Now let me just come down to Bharat Malkani. Bharat, I'll just invite you, representing the MRO industry in India, number one. Next 5 years, what's your vision to support the airlines in India, number one? Number two, what are the major supports which you may need from OEMs, from the airlines, and from the government of India? And Bharat, please restrict yourself to 4 minutes. We are already 5 minutes behind schedule. So.
Thank you, Sharat ji. Good morning all. Piyush ji, Ms. Garima, thank you for having me here today. A little 2-minute background on myself. I represent Max Aerospace. We are ostensibly today India's largest OEM-supported component workshop. We are the factory service center for Safran Aerosystems, for Liebherr, and for Collins. As my friend Ashok said, the bulk of our revenues, almost 70%, is actually coming from export, the rest from Indian carriers. Approved under FAA and EASA. And thanks to the continuous efforts of this government, and I mean it in absolute sincerity, we've been now able to build our new workshop, which will be India's single largest vertically integrated component overall shop, estimated to be inaugurated this third quarter. We started in a room 8 square meters in 1994. We have both a civil and a military side. Matter of fact, we have recently entered into a partnership with Bell Helicopters to set up an FAL to build military aircraft at Nagpur with the blessings of the government of Maharashtra. Having given that background, let me go to the fundamental issues. Indian MRO has a lot more to achieve, as we've all discussed. You'll all be happy to note that a groundwork has been laid up by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, by Mr. Samir and Mr. Piyush ji. Over the last 6 or 7 months, we have entered into very serious reform ideas. Each and every member on this team has been part of that reform team, whether it's Air India, Indigo, GMR, Airworks. And we have finally created a document that will, in our opinion, galvanize Indian MRO. And the word is galvanize because it has been long overdue. For a country of our size, if we continue to import, which we estimate is more than 90% of the MRO, I think this galvanization, once the reform processes are put into place, which we anticipate should be soon enough, will bring at least half of that to in-country in the next 3 to 4 years. And I mentioned 3 to 4 because we actually don't have infrastructure as much, apart from Sharad's offices. Nobody has component infrastructure. I know Jitendra is making an engine infrastructure, but then again, we don't have APU infrastructure, landing gear. We have to get into bricks and mortar. So if the first thing you'll do is actually build facility from ground up. You're going to have to build it. From the airlines, the MRO expectation is rather small, gentlemen. We know you support us, so I can't complain. At best, the challenges, the smaller MROs, the ones that you will need that, when you talk about 20% airframe, our 80% bracket, is going to need a support of the airlines with the OEMs. I cannot ask this of airframe companies like Boeing and Airbus, because they are not really an MRO company. It is you who will be able to support us, especially when we hit a hurdle for the technology transfer, or what we call in military parlance, MTOT, maintenance TOT. There are restrictions. It's one of the causes why India hasn't been able to deliver MRO. There may be half this room willing to invest if the technology was available from a particular OEM. That is where we want the airlines to stand by us. The rest, I don't even need to convince you. You've seen the vindication of the results of what Indian MRO has delivered despite these challenges and hurdles. So the ask from the government, Piyush ji, is we have gone through a process. We request you to please bring it out into the domain through the process that you have, PIB or whatever. We want that to come out not just as what we have done as a team, but to bring a sense of sensitivity to all the departments. We cannot stay at 10% forever. 10% is really too low for a nation of 1.4 billion people. I am given to understand latest statistics from Department of Education. We are producing close to 500,000 engineers and technicians per year. So to answer the question for people, pipeline for qualified people, yes. Training, I think the MROs and the airlines will do it. Cost, we will bear, but we should be able to afford it through expansion. And expansion will, we believe, come when we work closely with our customers and our government at clearing this last line. We believe it's the last line hurdle of the reform process, which again, so kudos to you and your team. You've really stood by us and built on it. We're waiting to see the success of it. Thank you, Sharad.
Thank you, Bharat. Thanks for keeping it simple. Thanks for keeping it small. Thank you. So, sir, with that, I would just like to sum it up. Indian industry, as the different panelists have said, Indian aviation industry is expanding. We are looking towards 1,000+ additional aircraft getting added into the infrastructure, into the ecosystem in next 5 years. The MRO space right now, essentially for narrow body, There is maybe a lot of players, but wide body, the airlines need supports. 20% of the entire business which is coming from the airframe, maybe there are multiple players, but the engine maintenance and the component maintenance remains a pain point for the airlines. Yes, some OEMs are setting up their shops, and hopefully things will be better in the next 5 years. The skilling gap, the numerous basic 147 schools in India, the standalone schools, and also the schools run by the airlines, they are creating people who are essentially going to run the 20% of the entire business, that is the aircraft maintenance. But for the engine maintenance and for the component maintenance, perhaps there is no training ground available. The synergy required from the defense sector, which can bring a lot of experienced technicians into the ecosystem, needs to be explored and expanded further. And Bharat, towards the end, has certainly said that certain reforms which he is expecting from the government, and he's looking forward that his demands are taken care of soon. With that, sir, I'd like to sum it up. I'm sorry that I missed out some of the panelists. I could not call them because of the paucity of time. Sorry for that. Sir, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sharatji. It has indeed been a very engaging session, and I must confess that it has been very different from the sessions that I have had with industry in the last so many years that I have been in the government. For one, it really stands out because unlike the earlier sessions that I've had in this ministry and earlier ministries, earlier avatars, is that this has not been a crib session, it has not been a demand session, it has been clearly a very, very positive session. What I really liked is that all the players, all the stalwarts and captains of industry highlighted what they are doing and what they actually intend to do and how to take the industry forward, not necessarily with government support and not necessarily with regulatory support. They want to stand up on their own, which is a sign of maturity of the industry, and also the fact that probably I would like to accept what you have been saying and compliment myself and pat myself and my team on the back that what had to be done has largely been done from the government side. What still needs to be done is very, very important. Mr. Milgani made a very valid point. Most of you are part of the committee that was set up in Ministry of Civil Aviation a couple of months back. We have finalized the report, submitted it to the government. Although I know I am part of the government, but when I submit a report, I am not part of the government, I am part of the industry. So I have submitted the report as part of the industry, and now from the part of the government, I am taking it up and trying to get it implemented. There are various issues that need to be solved. We will definitely work on that. A couple of points that came up here. One was about the single window clearance that was raised. Sharatji did clarify on that, but I am not really sure what exactly is required from the single window, because as of now, clearances are given through a single window. But if there is anything else that needs to be done, we'll be more than happy to take it up and ensure that at least ease of doing business is ensured. Again, hopping back to the same point, what needs to be done by the government, I do believe that you had some issues about what still needs to be done. You did not elaborate on that, but if you can forward to us what you think needs to be done, has not been done and not touched upon, we'll take it up. The IGST 5% notification, as far as I understand, for all aircraft parts that are there, irrespective of the chapters of harmonized classification, are covered under 5%. What is not covered are certain raw materials and certain consumables, because probably they have dual use. But if you think they are singular use and exclusively for aircraft, do highlight it to us, and that should be easily sorted out. So on that note, I think I must really acknowledge once again that this has been a very, very fruitful session, and thank you very much for all these suggestions. And I I urge you all to give a big hand for yourself. It's been a very good session. Thank you.